I'm just thinking about it. Sorry. To give y'all some context,
Who are you talking to?
um, uh, our audience, our lovely
We
studio
haven't even
audience.
started.
I mean,
Oh, we started.
man, I wish they could see your face right now because that was great. Anyway, so to give y'all just
I still didn't realize we started.
some
Sorry.
real quick context, Haley just had a really major surgery, and we'll actually get into that right after this intro. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Caleb with HunterBoyz Outdoors. Thank you so much for joining us today. Man, it's like Q. It's like at this point, man, it's just like this automatic like response, man. You just like, boom, let's go. It's live, baby. Let's go. Anyway, all right. So anyway, no, thank you so much for joining us today. I have a very lovely, beautiful guest, and I don't get to say that often. Only about one person. But no, I have my beautiful wife on the podcast, and it was kind of funny. Obviously, the whole HunterBoyz crew. We kind of started it back up. Obviously recently, and obviously we got some love and support, and we actually produced our first podcast back, and Haley watched it, and it was so funny. So she was like sitting there, and she's like sipping her like little coffee or like whatever, eating her little Cheez-Its or whatever, and she's like, and I was like, oh my god, she's actually laughing. Oh
I'm
my gosh.
actually funny.
and then she gets done, and she's like, hey, Caleb, and I go in there, and she's like, hey, I just finished watching, and it was actually really good, and I was like, and like I was waiting for like the butt part, right? And then she's like, no, it was really good. It like kept me entertained the whole time. And so if I got the blessing from her, doesn't really matter what anybody else says. Y'all are just a bunch of losers now. um, but no, if she was the one that told me that it was really good, we're doing something right, buddy.
Yes.
That's all we got. That's all we got to say. But no, so enough about me. But yeah, this is my wife, Hailey. We've been together. I like to just say like 10 years at this point.
It
I
is
mean, it's
10
it's
years.
been 10 years. We've been married. Sarah, almost 7, right?
Seven and
Or
a half.
7.5. Oh my god! Holy crap!
Yeah.
Wow. So we've almost been together 11 years.
Yes. So 10 and a half.
Oh wow, that's a long time. That's a long time to get to know somebody.
Time flies
Yeah,
when we're
no.
having fun.
She knows every bad part of me.
Yeah,
But
goes likewise.
yeah, she doesn't have any bad parts whatsoever. She's perfect. Absolutely stunning.
I'm glad it took you 10 years to figure that out.
I'm lying. Anyway.
Here, I'm going to let you put my coffee over
Yeah.
on the thing.
Yeah. But no, so but yeah, go ahead and give yourself a little introduction, however you feel is necessary for the people to get to know you.
I'm Hailey. I don't know what else to say. I'm a mama and a wife. To Caleb and two beautiful girls.
She's a mom to me. That's right. you gotta take care of me.
That's my third child right there. But I have two daughters who I spend 24/7 with. I just started hunting about 4 years ago. Right after I had our second daughter. But it's okay. I like it. It goes in waves. I don't want to be honest. I don't like duck hunting. I think it's gross. It's too cold. It's wet. I do like deer hunting, but only rifle. It's easier, mainly. But I like it.
Do you find any I don't want to say worth, but do you find any like do you find hunting worthwhile? Like even though like you don't like just are absolutely like passionate about it, but do you find it worthwhile?
Absolutely. I think probably more of the reason why I don't like duck hunting is just because it's cold and wet, and I don't like being cold and wet. I don't like having to wake up super early. I think there's a lot of work that goes into the setting up part. And to be honest with you, I'm not really a good shot. And so, I mean, I could probably let off like 6 shots in the air and probably get one bird
6?
down.
No, you let out 3 because you have a plug in your gun.
Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe we should cut that out. I didn't say that. That's how I don't know.
No, listen.
No, I mean like 3 shots plug and then have to reload because I didn't. I have to
Okay,
reload
there
before.
We go. There we go.
Wait a minute. Sorry.
Okay.
We cut that out, but I don't.
No, you
I
don't have
did
to
it.
cut it out. That's
I don't.
fine.
I felt like I needed to say that.
No.
No, I did it right.
Makes sense now.
I feel like we should cut that out. Like
No, it's
edit
okay.
that.
It's okay.
No, I mean like I would have to reload.
There you go. No, makes sense.
I know you can't do 6 shots.
I mean, unless it's a conservation goose.
I never went goose hunting.
It's dude. See. I know that you don't like duck hunting, but I think in the
What
right
if you
setting.
took your plug out? How many can go in the shotgun?
So
4?
it actually depends on the gun. Some guns hold 5, some hold 6. But you know how you can get those. You know how some guns look funny and they have that really long tube on them.
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Okay. Well, okay.
Never mind.
But some guns, it's really popular, like in like competition shooters and goose, late goose conservation season. So you have like it looks like the regular barrel, and then there's this like it looks like another barrel under it. Well, that's just like a longer tube.
Well, I don't like duck hunting because I'm not a good shot. So I let off 3. And then I have to reload and let off 3 more. And on the 6th one, I find that like end up shooting like 1 duck.
I think you just get flustered.
Oh my gosh! Whenever everyone's like, "Shoot him," and I'm like, "What do I do?" Just like, woo! And then I get excited, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, I need to get myself under control." And finally, when I get myself under the control, I obviously shot one. But I mean, I think I would like it better. I don't know. It's too hard because like in September when teal comes around, it is September, huh? Felt like that was right too. I got that on the calendar.
Yeah, right.
I liked September, but it's so hard because it can either be start of getting cold or it's hot and there's mosquitoes everywhere. And then the water is just gross. I don't know. And I don't know. It's like 50-50.
Listen. Duck hunting.
But do I like seem it like worthwhile? Like, am I excited like I shot like a duck? Yes. I mean, it's cute. You kind of like hang on the wall. It's special. It was the first time going duck hunting. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Well, tell us, since you brought it up, why don't you tell us about that?
When we went teal hunting?
Yeah.
Well, we decided to spend some time together, and he was like, "I'm going to take you teal hunting," and I'm like, "Oh, yay." Well, we got in the, we went camping, actually, which is like red flag number 1, and so, and
We have the worst luck. Camping.
We really do.
It's terrible.
Anytime we go camping here, ooh, there's a fly up in here. Anytime we go camping up here in Oklahoma, the wind seems to literally bust down our tent. And so it went from like 80 degrees that day to like 40. And none of us packed for any type of cold weather.
We didn't.
And it had already buckled in our tent for the night. It was rough. But he was like, "Okay, we can still go." And he's like, "I got these like, what was it, rain jackets?"
It was remember I had those 2
Gore-Tex. He had some Gore-Tex jackets, so we did have one long sleeve. So I ended up putting on the long sleeve and the jacket and then tucked him in my waders. I was fine. But when we got out there, of course it's dark and there's water, and I do not like the dark, and I do not like...
Hailey, the dark and water don't mix very well.
Every creepy crawly becomes to exist, and I do not like to lie where the critters crawl. And Caleb literally put me in the middle of, I guess, reeds?
Yeah, they were
just reeds. But he tucked me back in there. We got it done.
The best part was when I was getting to that point, right? I was like, hey, come here. Because I had to do all the work because she didn't want to get in the water or do anything.
I showed up.
Yeah, she showed up. And I, you remember when I came in and I got you and I was like, hey, all right, hey, I need you brush in, get in your spot.
I'm like, you about to put what on me?
And she's like, what?
He literally moved these reeds to like lay on me, obviously to cover me.
Yeah, I
was
basically
just
just split them. Right?
And he set my chair like down in the middle, and he was like, "Okay, get in there." And I was like, "That ain't for me."
Hey, she wanted to like in the old days, Q, just sit on the edge of the water like we freaking used to. All right, let's go.
I did not want to be deep into it because I was scared. It was still dark. And then, obviously, as sunrise comes up, you start to, like, at first, I mean, I'm obviously scared because I'm like, ew, it's nasty. And the sun comes up, and then you're like, wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah, it really
and
is.
And then you kind of, like, forget once you hear, like, that first little, I mean, that's probably not, that wasn't a good one, but once you hear, like, your first little quack and everything, I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready. And so, like, it kind of, like, I forgot about all the things that went bad that entire morning because I love Caleb, but we really don't have the best luck when it comes to duck hunting sometimes. But I enjoy spending time with you. And so, I mean, I still was kind of scared of where the critters crawl, but it just kind of, like, went away. And then the adrenaline started pumping, and then he was like, "Shoot him!" And I was like, "Ah!" And then I only let off 2 shots. And on the third one, I was like, "Get your crap together, Hailey," because I missed. Because after, like, what was it, like 10 flew in?
Shoot, no, it was like 15 or 20.
Okay, well, I can't count, I guess.
No,
it was a big one, but I shot one. Just,
well,
no,
I mean, look, I missed.
Bull crap, you shot. No, you did not.
I missed like twice. I was freaking nervous too. Dude.
What were you nervous for?
Cause I mean, look.
Were you excited you could just let me win?
No, I mean, well, look, you put in a bunch of work. You get your wife out there. She finally is like, all right, let's go. And so you want to make sure that everything goes right, and then.
I was so excited, though. And I even shot one when it was flying. And normally 9 times out of 10, if it's sitting still, I got you. Now if it's flying, it ain't done.
We'll actually go ahead and throw that in right here. And no, it was a great experience, and it was fun.
I had a great time.
Mally cracked me up. Remember how she kind of jumped the gun a little bit.
That's also probably why I was a little flustered.
Yeah, but I mean. No, she did fine. She gets excited just like all of us, but, excuse me. But no, so that's pretty much
my duck story.
Your duck hunting pedigree.
And now that I got like one in the door, like if I went again, I mean, I would enjoy it like if we went with our girls and brought them out. But I really just like kind of like tagging along. I don't like want to put in, I don't like, well, one, I don't like getting in the water. 2, it's cold. 3, it's early. And there's so much work that goes in for such little meat.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if it was like a beautiful duck, I mean, I kind of understand. Like I said, duck hunting's not my favorite hunting. And so.
I can't wait.
But then again, when we go rifle hunting, I still like for you to carry my rifle. So.
Hey, you know what?
You treat me like a queen. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I try to make the experience as pleasurable as possible.
Yeah,
because I want you to come back,
Yeah, and
and she's never coming back ever.
No, I'll go back. I will.
We'll see.
I think so.
We'll see. It needs to be the right setup. I don't. Honestly,
I enjoyed the time, tremendously. I enjoy spending the time with you that morning, and then once we shot some ducks, you took me to eat breakfast.
That actually is fun. Huh?
I enjoy that part.
And it's funny that you say that, but I think, and with you, obviously, especially you there, but even with the guys there, I enjoy the camaraderie that waterfowling, encompasses. I really, really enjoy that because especially like teal, right? They freaking
yeah, they're fast little truckers.
And then and remember how I know.
It's like ah!
And then it's like in 15 minutes they're done.
I know, and I'm like, what
and
the
then
heck?
And then you're
I'm
like,
what do I do for the rest of the day? Oh wait, I guess we should go eat.
Yeah, exactly. So that is fun about teal hunting is that it ends.
I do
usually early.
I like how kind of like fast it goes. That is my one thing versus deer that I like. I mean, you put more. I mean, I feel like deer and duck, you put so much time into the preparation part, and when you get out there, I feel like duck, it goes pretty smoothly. I mean, if you're sitting at the right spot, but once it's done, it's done. I mean,
Well, you freaking say that, and you shot both of your freaking deer in like 15-minute spans.
I'm not like everybody.
So.
I'm like me.
But yeah, because you shot your first deer almost 4 years ago.
Yes.
And then you shot your big deer, which we'll put right here. You shot your big deer last year.
Yes.
Off of a whim.
Yes.
Man, it's nice when a landowner calls you, huh?
Oh, always.
I was actually.
Well,
shocked.
you probably thought it was gonna be you, not so much me.
No. And I truly say, even with how big he was, I wanted you to shoot him just because of the situation that kind of.
Yes, I agree, because I feel like that wouldn't be a good like first buck story. I mean, it was still great. I think it was necessary. I mean, the emotion was still.
She says first buck because I've been hunting almost all of my life and I have yet to shoot a buck. I did take a lot of time off when I was a teenager, preteen teenager, and I did, I'd focus on like other things, sports, motocross, all that other stuff.
And then when we started dating.
And then we dated, and then we got married, and then we had kids, and I took a really.
We just picked it back up within the last I'd say, not even 4 years, because we just happened to go deer hunting, just because, but you didn't go duck hunting that season.
I think I went one time.
Yeah, but I don't say like that was like true introduction. So I would say within the last.
I hunted deer and duck and whatever else. I hunted a lot when I was younger.
We need to get this boy some big old antlers.
Yeah. Well, but also like growing up, like growing up in the West, growing up in Colorado, hunting's so much different.
I agree.
And so. I couldn't big game hunt till I was 12, and so that.
But you did get you got a cow.
Yeah.
When you were 12.
Mm-hmm. I got a cow elk when I was.
I wasn't even thinking about hunting when I was 12.
When I was 12 or 13, and then I shot my doe when I was 12.
Yeah.
But I shot my cow at 250 yards.
Which is pretty bad, man.
Yeah, up a hill too. Well, it's not dangerous, but she. We're on this private road, and we were going down this road, and there was a bull and 2 cows on that ridge, and so we set up in the right spot.
Did you only have a cow tag?
Yeah, it was a so funny story. So that my 308.
Mhm.
That's
what I actually shot both of my deer with.
Mm-hmm. So, I went hunting earlier. And I was something happened, and I don't know if I bumped my scope or my scope got bumped by something, but I was actually off by a lot, and I probably sent 6 or 7 rounds down range, and I kept on missing. And Dad was like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
Did you were shooting at that time? Oh wait, you were just practice shooting?
No, I was shooting at a animal, and
Dad. What were you shooting at?
An elk.
Like a cow?
Mm-hmm. And because there was a herd, I think they're probably like 200 yards off. But I kept on.
Missed?
Yeah. Well, I kept on going over. My dad could see the. Oh my goodness! I cannot remember the name. He could see the bullet, the little vortex.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it's called, but he could see that going right over the cow's back.
Were they like startled or anything when you shot it?
They were like, "What the heck is that?"
They're like, "Who's breaking this tree branch?"
Well, actually, it was out in the open, and they were just like, "What the heck is that?" And then, and then we regrouped. Mm-hmm. We went back home. I kind of felt like a failure, and then we put some rounds through paper, and I was like 2 or 3 inches high. Dang. I can't remember.
I mean, it really makes a difference.
No, so I think I was like at like 50 yards or 100 yards. I was like. Super freaking high.
Size.
And then
I didn't.
We're married, so you can say all this.
Size matters. I mean,
Oh, jeez.
oh God, I got myself the giggles.
Anyway, but yeah, no. So we kind of regrouped there, and then we went back out, and my confidence wasn't at like a super high level.
I
And
mean,
then,
can you imagine at age 12? Like, I mean, most kids are like, and now to today's day and age, most kids at the age of 12, that is like not even remotely. I mean, not my kids at least, but I just can't think. I'm like, what was I doing at 12?
well, but like, and it's
You
so.
just grew up so differently.
I grew up very differently, and I definitely have
I mean, I was playing
my family to
Barbies
thank for
and,
that.
you know, playing. I mean, we played outside, but like, we were definitely.
Yeah.
I did not grow up in the hunting family.
Yeah, I know. When I like start telling stories about stuff, like especially like when we first met, like Jake and his family, started like telling stories, and they were like, I was like, oh, I think I was like 10,
I'm like,
and
you
I
were
was
doing
like,
what?
10, 11, and that's like very like I try to be super accurate, like when I tell stories, but anyway, but yeah, so I went back out there, and yeah, and so we were on this like path or this road or whatever, and they came, and I got down. I actually was on one knee, and I had a shooting stick, and I put my gun up there, dropped her, boom, and she started rolling down the hill, and then she got caught up,
Oh, bless it.
in a she got caught up in in like a pine tree, little baby shrub. So we had to ruck up the hill, and
Oh,
and then we
gosh.
and then we
How
just go.
excited were you?
I was actually pumped.
That's one of the things, like, that's
I
one of
was
the
super
hardest things
excited.
to describe
And
to
my
people.
little, ironically, in my little nerdy little glasses.
Oh, wow, full 360.
Yeah, I know, right? And so, yeah, no,
Hmm.
that was my first cow, but
Never
it was this. It was late season cow, and I cannot remember the date, but it was either late December or early January.
Was it snowed? Had it snowed there?
Oh no, we were. I remember I was trudging through snow, and I was 12 or 13, and it was like
Wow.
to my knee. Yeah.
That was pretty cool, though.
Yeah, and then we were
So much work.
we were super happy too because she was rolling toward us. Well,
She hit the tree.
we went up there and gutted her, and then when we gutted her, it lightened her up, but then we just let her slide down.
Oh, you did? I was about to ask
The
how
rest
you
of
got
the
it
hill,
down.
we just kind of unhooked her, and then she.
There you go.
So,
Whee!
yeah, and so yeah, she basically became a sled, and so yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Can
but
you
no,
imagine that?
it was super freaking cool, but no, it's a lot of really good memories there. But yeah, I've never shot a buck, so you have that over me.
Twice.
Yep, your first one was super special.
Yes.
That was actually right after my brother passed away, and then you shot your big one, like I said, last year, and he was a big hoss.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
So I'm super proud of you for that, and you like really took charge.
I did.
I don't know why I was like, oh, okay.
I
And
know.
I was like, why am I listening to you?
Yeah, I know. I
And
don't
it
know
was
why
just-
you
it
listened
was
to
just
me
fun.
either, because I'm obviously not a big hunter, but I mean, you've literally instilled everything into me, and just listening to you talk 1,000 times a day about all the little details. I guess it paid off in that moment, because when we went in to shoot my second deer, the big hoss, we had our daughters with us, and so we were backpacking them in, and so there was a lot of things going on just in that moment, and Caleb was trying to, obviously point us in the right direction, and we went in, we go through like this thick like briar bush, I guess. I don't know, there were so many stickers, I'll never forget that. That's why I had to carry our 5-year-old at the time. And so I was literally just finished passing her from my back over to Caleb, so he's backpacking Remington, our 3-year-old, and he scoops up Sterling, and because there's so many stickers everywhere, and we're pretty girly, so she's kind of whining a little bit. She's like, oh my God, this is hurting, Mama. And we're like, okay, it's fine. Let's just scoot you to your daddy. And so I had just finished turning around, and I step a few steps, and there he is laying down, looking at me. And then Caleb's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you stopping?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, shh. and he had asked, I feel like, I don't know if I can do this. These are new. And so he's like, shh. And I was like, okay. Well, not me. What am I doing? I got my story mixed up. But I was like, oh, shh. And you're like, okay. And you're like, what are you doing? And I was like, shh. At that time, I mean, I probably said up. He was like, why did we stop? And I'm like, obviously he's stuck behind kind of like a tree, so he's not seeing the full view of what I see because he's like 3 feet behind me. And so I was like, at the point I got frustrated and I was like, shut the hell up. But, and he was like, oh. And he like peeks his head around and he sees it. And so, and there's so many emotions, and I think this is why I like deer hunting so much more, because like I see him, we're like doing a little stare down thing, and so many emotions are like pumping through my head.
Mm-hmm.
And while my first deer I shot like in a stand, so my gun was stable, like on a stand, or
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it was, but this time I'm freehanding, and so like this makes me giggle to this day. I put it up. And, I mean, that 308, it's heavy.
It is.
And so I pick it up, and he's, like, talking to me, and I'm like, shh, whatever. And so, like, I'm so excited, too. I'm like, and I cannot get him in my sights. And I was like, come on, Hailey, get it together. And, but I was so excited that I took my shot, and nothing happened because
he jumped up.
Wait a minute. I didn't get to that point yet.
Oh, okay.
I took my shot by pulling the trigger, only to realize I never turned my safety off. And so I jerked the gun, and which is fine because at that point it kind of like got me out of my system. Like, okay, girl, get it together. And so I picked the gun, obviously I'll take it off safety now, and I point at it. I'm like ready to go, and I shoot, and that heifer jumps up and literally darts off to my left. And I was like, oh my God, I missed. I was so sad. I was like, wow, I felt like I was really, point on. And so I looked back at Caleb and the girls, and I was like, y'all stay here.
And I said, okay.
I don't know why I said that because I don't know what the heck I was doing.
And then she goes and I'll never forget this. High stepping in the forest. This little bitty girl. Well, I say little bitty girl, but this little girl with her gun, and I'm like, okay. What am I doing? What am I doing? and then so I.
But you listened to me.
I did.
You're like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, and I did because I obviously wanted to respect that and give you some leeway to kind of.
And I did.
Figure it out.
I had trucked in there, not knowing which way this heifer ran, and so I was like, okay, let's go. And I start walking in there. And I cut the corner because it obviously went over to my left. Mm-hmm. And so when I went over there, I couldn't see you anymore. Mm-hmm. And you're like, hey, you see anything? And I was like, no, not yet.
But I smell it.
But I said, I smell something. I said, and he's like, what? And I was like, I smell something dead. Like, what is that? Like, I mean, like, foul. And there I see him. He's laying down. I don't know if he got in a fight. I don't know if somebody tried to previously shoot him and missed. I don't know, but sucker had gangrene.
He was very
He
grotesque.
was absolutely foul. I mean, granted, I think we put him out of his misery.
We did, 100%.
Definitely, because he was hurt bad. But I thought I missed. No, I did not.
When Hailey shot, and I don't know if you said this, but he was actually laying down.
Yes, he was laying down, so I had to kind of like estimate, like, because he was still in front of this, like, I mean, we are literally, I don't like to say the forest, I don't even know what that's called, the woods. Oh,
the brush.
He was literally stuck right, like, in a briar, like, here's grass, and it's just all in front of him, but I could see from like his neck up. I couldn't see like his body. I mean, I could see like the top part of his body.
So like if he was
his
like,
outline.
If he was like laying down and he was like doing this, right?
And so
and you could see like from like right here.
But I could see like kind of the top of it where he went down. So I could see that, he was still laying like, what's the word, broadside to me? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, okay. Obviously there's his vitals. That's where I want to shoot. And so I took the shot like full on, thinking, I mean, I don't want to say like a guesstimate, but it's really, I mean, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, but I felt so sure of it. And so when he jumped up and like darted off, I was like, wow, I missed.
Yeah.
And I don't like to miss. That makes me kind of sad.
Yeah. And
I was scared because like maybe I did like miss and go too far forward and maybe like wound him.
you also, he was at least 30 yards in. Like, he was super, super, super close.
Yeah.
Like, I could have shot him with a bow.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
he was super close. So, I
probably helped.
just didn't want y'all to think like that he was like 150 yards like
Oh
away.
no, he was like super close to
he
us.
was
Like
super close.
we were.
Like, you could see like the details in his face.
Yeah, like I mean, yeah. And
He
then
was hurt bad.
He was, and
He was hurt really bad.
I'm sad about it, but he does look pretty.
Yeah, he's gorgeous. And so he scored. So he was a super old deer. I didn't necessarily get him aged, but he was. I feel comfortable saying he was well over 5-6 years old, and he scored. He unofficially scored 114, inches on the dot, and for a old deer like that to be 114 inches, that's amazing.
He was like, but his mass, like
Oh god,
like he was. I mean, the only way I don't know how to say it. I mean, he was girthy. Like I was like, I mean, like he was thick, and so I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Because I remember putting my, and granted, I'm pretty little, so I had like small hands, and I remember like setting my arms around his antlers and being like, wow.
There's the picture right there.
I do have a picture. Like I wasn't able to like fully like close.
He was heavy. Remember how heavy?
He was so heavy. Okay, so and we tied him to drag him out.
Mm-hmm.
Just a good old, what was that? A toe strap. A toe strap in the back of the Subaru. And I was like, oh, let's do it. But we wrapped him up.
Tied him to the roof rack.
When I tell y'all, he
so
smelled
funny, y'all.
so bad.
He was.
Now, granted, I enjoyed the hunting part. I don't I don't mind the shooting the gun part. I don't mind the killing part. And the adrenaline that comes with that. I do not like the cleaning part. I think that is nasty. I do not like gutting.
I have a pretty strong stomach when it comes to that stuff.
I mean, it like doesn't like absolutely bother me. Like I can watch it be done. I just don't like when I put my hands in there.
That smell, it made me gag.
Like
it was like
I got a weak stomach when it comes to smells.
So he had a hole, basically.
Like it looked like he had like either been shot or jumped like a fence post and got like hung up.
It looked punctured.
He did. He like something like inserted into his
because
it was like what you would put in like an arm, like it was like the caption of like the armpit.
But you could only see it
when he was upside down.
When he was moving, and when we got him back
Ooh,
by the house,
I would never forget.
And
this.
I like lifted it up. I went. Ooh. And I was like, whoa.
Because that's why, like, when I shot him, like, I didn't know which way he went. Because when he fell, like, he kind of, like, really fell in the brush. And so I couldn't really see him. But, boy, I could smell him. And so finally Caleb creeped in, and there he was. And I was like, I shot him!
We had a little celebratory moment, but no, it was...
We did. It was one of the best. I was very happy to experience that with you and our girls.
Yeah, our girls were absolutely on cloud nine. They're like, oh my God, Mommy just shot a deer. Mommy just shot a deer. And it was amazing.
That's like top number 3 of like being able to like, I mean, obviously give birth to the kids, but for them to like see that to me was something that was like extremely cool. Yeah. Like I bet you that's like core memory for the girls. God. And that is something that's cool because Mom did that, not Dad.
Yeah, no, not Dad. Mommy gets all the glory when it comes to shooting big deer. I'm just gonna go over here and sip my coffee. So
yeah, but no, I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoy the adrenaline pump that comes with afterwards. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I probably cry just because, I mean, anytime I'm happy, anytime I'm sad, anytime I'm mad, just, a good cry. I'm very teary all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
Well, I didn't mean it like that, but...
I am pretty teary.
Oh, yeah. She's always teary, bud.
No, I am teary. I'm extremely emotional.
Yep.
All good things and bad. It's 50-50.
No, but I don't necessarily have like any more. How long have we been running, Q? Approximately. Oh wow, really? That's it? I feel. I thought it was longer than that.
I feel like we've been here a
Okay.
long time. I'm so tired.
Well,
I guess this is what happens. We have to do podcast after the girls go to bed.
Yeah,
If not, they're too wild.
yeah, and so we kind of have to do it in the late hours of the night. And I know our.
It's like 10 o'clock. It ain't that late.
Yeah, I mean it's 10 minutes till 11, and I know our director and producer absolutely loves that. Loves
He's
it.
trying to get on a better
He's
schedule.
trying to get on a good schedule, and I am the bad influence. Is like,
We're night owls, but not tonight. I'm tired.
well, we shouldn't be night owls.
I like
We
it.
shouldn't be.
I
but
get
we
more
are.
things done in the evening than I do.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's been sucky waking up in the morning. I'm like really struggling for whatever reason. It's bad.
You're not sleeping long enough.
I'm not sleeping good. I'm getting old.
I'm sleeping so hard lately that when I wake up, like my mouth is dry, like I've been sleeping with my mouth open. Now, granted, I sleep so much better when you get out of the bed. Oh, I sleep so much better.
Right?
I immediately roll.
You don't
to
even
the
give me time to like fully get out of bed.
bed.
You're like,
He's rolling out of the bed, and I'm rolling to his spot.
I
So
know. Like, what the heck?
I don't want to sleep on his side of the bed at nighttime, but when he gets out of the bed, that's the side I want to go
I'm like,
to.
what the heck are you doing, dude?
I don't know. And I already sleep in the middle of the bed as it is. So like we have a king size bed. So we have it, here's Caleb's spot, here's mine, but I don't sleep here, I sleep here. And so I have like all this room because I think I sleep sideways, but you only have like this little section. Oh, I didn't mean to bump that, but you have this little section. But I like physical touch at nighttime.
Yes.
It helps me go to sleep.
Yeah, I've become a lot more of a cuddler.
Yeah, we're big cuddlers.
As we've matured in our relationship.
Which is normally opposite because most people cuddle in the beginning and then don't. But I liked my space at nighttime.
Yeah.
But you also have had sinus surgery, and so you don't snore as bad as you used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like noises or breathing. Specifically, your breathing at nighttime.
That's funny. But no, the only question I think that I really have, it would be, what would you say to maybe like other girlfriends or wives out there that have their husbands enjoy the outdoors as much as us? What would be your advice to them? Because maybe they just don't really like hunting, or maybe they haven't really had a good like experience yet. Like what would your advice like be to them?
My advice would be is if you love your spouse or partner, to go out there and do it anyway. Because while I may not love hunting as much as you do, and we have our differences with that, and I don't like it because of all these little minute things, but I enjoy spending time with you, and sometimes that's worth making sacrifices for being cold and wet and rainy. I think it's worth it. I think if you love somebody, I think you should absolutely start loving what they do. Now, granted, I don't, but I love it. I mean, I don't. We've had this conversation. I mean, I like the idea of hunting, but until I realize how much work goes into it and how much getting prepared.
It's very romantical.
Yeah, like
Which I know I say that.
Was such a
funny.
That was
when I hear that, I think that of was it Haunted House 2? He's like, I'm feeling romantical.
No, I just think it's something, if you don't mind going shopping with me, I need to make the same sacrifice with you when it comes to hunting.
Yeah.
And
or like the expectations of like, hey, you need to make sure, I know this sounds silly, but like, hey, you need to make sure that you put your dishes up, and help me clean up the house, help me do this.
I mean, we're a team, and teams work together even sometimes when we don't have to. But I have started to learn that, I enjoy spending time with you, and sometimes, granted, most of the time when I'm, propped up with the animal in my hand, or even the excitement that comes after shooting a duck down in the sky and
You
then
were
watching.
you were pumped.
I was so freaking excited because that was the first time I'd ever seen Mally, our dog, retrieve, and to watch her do that was so cool. And so making, we share so much together that, you know, I want to share like the exciting moments, and I love sharing first with one of you, with one of you for the first
with
one
one
of
of
you.
you?
That's not what I meant. Like,
Oh my God, guys! I think we have breaking news.
no, we don't. But you're such a goober. You're like, yeah, I'm tired. I'd eat you alive. But no. Oh, this feels weird. Sorry. I'm just gonna put my hands down here. But
She can touch me, guys. I want you to touch me. Sorry, that's.
You're such a goober. But no, experiencing first with one another is something that's really cool, and to
It
be
is
able to do
awesome.
that with you. But if I could, give somebody advice is to go out and try it. You may love it. You may not, but you know what? If you love your spouse, you should go out there anyway. We make sacrifices for one another. But I don't know. I like spending time with you.
But also, like going out there with me, has it put things in perspective about like how much work it is?
Wow. Yes. I had no idea of the prep, but like, I don't know. I feel like you're so different than most people. Like you're very,
Analytical.
no, I mean analytical, yes, but like you're very oriented. Like you're not going out there and doing something halfway. Like if you're doing it, whether you're going in there for one duck or 10, or I mean, I don't know what the limit is. What's the limit of a duck a day?
Well,
I don't know. I did the 3 shotgun plug, whatever. So, but like anything you put your mind to, you do it with your full intention of getting nothing or getting everything. And so it's hard to find people nowadays who have the same drive, who are like, hey, all those little details don't matter. But like to see to you that you put in the work to make sure you respect the animal, make sure you're putting in the right, getting the right ammo to be able to, make sure the goose drops down because you need a higher whatever. And he wants boss ammo. Okay, did I say that right?
Yeah.
But he's been and
It's
listen,
boss 3-5 stack 2 3/4, baby. Let's go.
somebody else buy it, not me. But but I mean, like, and it's so funny because I can like say that now, but like I listen to you put in the research. I listen to you talk about it so much. Heck, I'm listening to you talk to me about it, and half the time you think I'm not listening, but I like the drive that you put into certain things because I mean it also shows like, well, one, respect for the animal. Two, it shows that I don't know, it just shows your character, and I mean I think you're pretty awesome. But I don't know. That's like one of my favorite things about like getting the preparation. Now, granted, the 16,000 walks back to the truck, or like making sure everything is packed and we forget something, that just happens. And there's a lot of decoys are heavy, and so
Yeah, and dive bombs.
so funny. But like we're so funny. But no, I really, it gave me perspective of like sometimes it's easy to watch the YouTube video and people just show up and like go shoot. And while if you're that person, I think it's cool. We're not those people. Like, I mean, you definitely down to, where you're going, how far it is, what's the mileage. I mean, in today's gas prices, it ain't far. I mean, going far gets expensive real quick. And, we're balling on a budget over here. And, but I do like that part of seeing the prep that goes into it. Why? Because I can tell that it's like your passion. And I like that about you.
Yeah, well, thank you for that compliment. I appreciate it. Also, on the flip side of things, it can get very discouraging very quickly.
Yes, because I think, well, 1, 2, we went on our first duck hunt together, and there was no birds. None. I think like, 6 teal flew in? Maybe out of a full day, and we walked miles and miles. Remember that one day when we went over to, we went to Fort Sill. We went to that morning. Where else did we go?
Was it that same weekend?
No, it was your birthday weekend.
Oh, that wasn't Fort Sill, babe.
No, we went to Fort Sill in the evening.
That was Hackberry.
No, we went to Hackberry for breakfast time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or sunrise.
And then we did go to Fort Sill.
Yes.
Oh, and then you got mad at me.
Yeah, because
you wanted to shoot that drake that was sitting on the water, and I wouldn't let you because I was trying to get the other ones to come in.
I missed my shot.
And she did. You missed your shot.
Well, because it flew away. It was flying away. I wasn't prepared. I should have not listened. But yeah, but when we went to that first thing, I mean, we drove all the way out there. We, packed it was like a 2-mile walk up in there. And we were all excited, and
There wasn't jack.
There was nothing. And so that can get really discouraging after putting, time and money and equipment hauling out and, gas, got ammo. And so when you buy all this stuff and you get nothing, but it's a part of the game. We're not the first sport, or hunting isn't the first thing that happens to. That's a lifelong lesson right there. Life ain't fair. You either need to, take it by the horns or just move on.
It'll humble you real quick.
Yeah, hunting is.
Sometimes I'm like, am I crazy?
Yeah.
Because I guess I'm crazy, but no, I just enjoy it. I think there's just this constant chase of the unknown.
I do, and I think it's cool too. And I always I used to question, man, even though I don't get anything, the time I was able to still spend outside, just looking at God's creation is something that is joyful to do, because I feel like I'm my best me. Well, this is what you're saying, but I'm my best me when I'm outside and just taking it in. And I used to be like, well, that's kind of silly. You can do that in the AC, And
with me, sitting by me.
Let's watch a movie. But until I started going out and experiencing myself, and even though we may not have good luck hunting or camping, to be able to embrace God's creation in different parts of the world, and different camping sites, or different just I don't know, I guess atmospheres, but I guess the word I'm looking for
habitats.
is scenery wise, it's something that's really cool. I didn't there's so much more to life than our little bubbles, and if we just push a little bit harder to get out of our norm, there's the expectations are limitless at that point. I never saw myself hunting, let alone raising my girls to do so. And look at it, I've taken them on their first hunt. They got to see that in me. We go camping, and I'm like, let's get dirty. Let's climb to the top of the mountain. We may be out of breath by the time we get up there, but it's something that's pretty cool. And I never expected that for myself, especially growing up the way we did, versus the way you guys did.
Well, I think, and I won't touch on it too much, because that's it'd be a whole nother podcast. But I think the environment that you're in can really dictate what you're willing to experience and what you're willing to kind of stretch.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I want to have a full disclaimer. We are not perfect. I had my issues when we first got married. She's perfect. She doesn't have any, issues. But
either that or I'm a whole lot better at hiding. I'm kidding.
I gotta try to quit watching porn in the bathroom. I just gotta quit. But it's a joke, guys. It's a joke.
Oh, I should probably laugh. No, we're kidding. No, but no, Q's looking at us like we're crazy.
But no,
the honesty.
We all have our for me, when we first got married, I was so addicted to that habit, and that's why we can joke about it now, because I had this certain I guess tick, I guess that you would call it, and so every time I had this tick, or every time I had this urge, I would I'd try to smoke and mirror her, and then kind of go do my thing, and then she finally caught me, and then she's like, "What are you doing? just not love me? It's just
Like normal, I think women are even, I mean, that's the thing is we're so far in depth with this and therapy and actual just straight up honesty and, to be honest with you, God, but we're so far into it, like we giggle, but so many men and women deal with pornography. 90% of the time, it's probably the people around you.
you know.
It's just today's day and age. It's so normalized, but it's easy to cover things up because, well, you don't really know what's going on behind closed doors. Everything may look perfect on the outside, and while, we have a great family and a solid marriage, when you shut the door, there's real problems, and real problems exist. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it almost broke us there for a moment, but I don't think we were truly aligned with God, with what God had wanted for you and I. And lots of heartache, lots of honesty, and tears, probably from both of us, has actually got us to the point where we're able to speak about it. And it's actually something I'm like truly passionate about. And people are probably tired of hearing our story. But it's like, if I could just get this out, if I just get this out for you, then the way like we kind of like dealt with it, and not dealt with it, like I mean, like we're still years in and we're having this conversation often. Like I'm like always checking in. It's not like to be like, I don't trust you. It's like, hey, we need accountability. And that's really what it was. And it sacrificed so much because I didn't know when we first got married. I don't want to say I'm like a shelter, but I did not really know what pornography was. And I was whole naive, like, I loved Caleb. Caleb only loves me, only has eyes for me. Only to realize, it's Pandora's box behind Caleb's, I guess, viewing stuff. And, people aren't comfortable talking about this. And I would rather have the hard, uncomfortable conversations to help, maybe my daughters one day if they're in this situation, or someone that we come into contact with. And that can be really tough for a lot of people, but understanding actual God's grace would be the only thing that has gotten me through this. And that meant that I'm supposed to be with Caleb for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, and I think, probably can't really speak for everybody, but I think most men out there, they don't want to just disappoint their wives because
Absolutely.
I love you, but you're like really hard on me. You know what I mean?
And that makes it hard to feel like you can come to me.
Right. Well, and I think there's like a point where which I'm not going to get into like the whole like psychological and like points where you can and can't do certain things because it's like a whole thing. But there's a point where I can like come to you.
Absolutely.
But there are things that I have to do first to get to the point where I can talk to you, about it. And this is not an excuse. Like there's legit steps that you have to do because just the way that women work. You can't just keep on messing up and just every time come out,
because it messes with us mentally. And, people can say, no, it doesn't, but absolutely does. And I don't want to say just like it's a men issue. Like this is something that I make sure that I touch on. Like women deal with pornography just as much as men do. And so the embarrassment, especially as a Christian, to come out, let alone, a husband, like, hey, Hailey, I love you so much. I've been doing this for a long time before you came along. I got caught, so let me tell you how bad it is. Do you know how hard that is? I mean, like, could you imagine? And this is where I know that, and I get really emotional about it. But, like, this is where, like, God's grace comes into play. Because, like, can I imagine, like, the turmoil that it puts you through?
Yeah.
And for you to, like, come up and say that to me, it's like, wow, that's hard, but I love you so much and I love Jesus so much that I need to be honest with you about this so I can get the help I need. And looking back, I'm like, how shameful of me to be like, we have to keep this. Nobody can know. I mean, I've had this conversation with you. I was like, nobody can know you have this addiction. It is, one, I'm embarrassed, and I get so frustrated that is like, how silly of me, because it wasn't me. I mean, I dealt with it directly of you, but I didn't carry. I carried your burden when we didn't have to.
Right.
And so, like, when I, like, got frustrated with you, I mean, granted, I mean, your pornography thing, and we've talked about this in the previous podcast. Well, not we. You talked about this. You know, it got rough there for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we were at each other's throats. And while I may have been perfect and never did anything bad, you know, I had a bad attitude. I was very frustrated with you.
Right.
And I loved you, but I didn't I wasn't in love with you. And something too somebody told us years ago is like, you know, when you're going to get married, when you're going to get married, you may be, you're not always going to be in love as you are on your wedding day. And I was like, how silly, you know, I love this man. Like, oh my gosh, there's nothing he could do wrong.
Well, here we are.
Well, what a silly goose. And no, but they said one of the most important things is to figure out how you can find your way back into love. And while we've gotten married, 7.5 years ago, been together for 10, that was puppy love. This is the real deal. The real deal is when you say for better or for worse, for richer and poorer, because we have been poor, we have been rich, we have been sick, we have been everything in between. But in honesty, we put God first, and here we are. And whether we have everything or we have nothing, at least we have one another.
It's true.
And that's something that is like really spoken for. But it isn't like this, like perfect marriage. Well, one, it doesn't exist. Two, if you do not put in the work, I mean, like, it is not going to happen. And that is something that, you know, people think this happily ever after happens, but people don't have honest conversations. People don't have like real, like, everyone has problems. Everyone. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you love Jesus. I mean, we are in a fallen world and things fail.
And I'm just being honest, and Hailey, you can always jump in. Yes, men, a lot of times we have our outward problems. And I'm not saying that we can't have internal problems as well. But a lot of times our stuff is very outward. And it is very easy for y'all as our spouses to, as we come out with our outward stuff, it's very easy for y'all's inward things to start not necessarily coming out, but encapsulate. And then stuff starts to kind of intertwine and cinch down. And so now you're not just fighting anxiety about, I don't know, X, Y, and Z, but now you're fighting anxiety for X, Y, Z, and now Caleb.
Yeah.
And so now every time Caleb has his back turned or goes into the bathroom or is home by himself or is at work, it's now this extra.
Yeah, that was tough. But you're so right, because, I mean, as women, we're more emotional. We take things harder. I mean, at least, I don't want to say as women. I'm not speaking for women as a whole. I'm speaking me as a woman and most of my friends. We're emotional. You do something and it literally, like, weighs on me. Because, I mean, I think in a right marriage, like, I carry a lot of your burdens. We share everything. And so when I can see, like, the heartache on you and how hard you are on yourself in every aspect of life, and then you know that I'm like, hey, you know, I'm worried, for you to have to carry that makes things kind of tough on the both of us.
And I say this like to kind of like be funny, but also like have like some seriousness backing it up too. If you're married and you're willing to have sex with your spouse, then you need to be willing to have the hard conversations as well.
That is something that we have said since day one.
Yeah, because I'm so over the fact that not people try to like. I mean, sometimes it does kind of happen, but people try to put like this outward, like perfect, like appearance. I mean, we did it, you know.
I mean, to the outside, we look like a perfect family.
Oh, yeah. Oh, y'all are so beautiful. It's great. It's whatever. I'm
like, thank you, but we're jacked up.
But let me Let me tell you about a guy named Jesus.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't have Jesus, I probably wouldn't be here.
No.
And so,
Which is so silly. I mean, like,
I mean, yeah, I'm being totally serious.
no, I know you're being serious. That's
But
why. But I mean, like, but also too, like when we first got married, like I think Kayla, and I say like so many times, I'm sorry, but you had a better relationship with Jesus than I did at the moment. I feel like, and we've touched on this before. Not that I've told many people like my little story, but like I did not have. I mean, I asked Jesus to come in my heart. Like I knew I was saved. Knew I was like gonna go to heaven. You know, whatever. But I did not know Jesus, and up until like probably a few years ago, until I had a rough little moment there, and only to realize that, I had a relationship with the church. I did not have a relationship with Jesus. I knew how to serve the church. I could not serve Jesus. And that's something like, I mean, I know a lot of people deal with, but you couldn't have like spoke to me about grace. I had a bad attitude. Like I wasn't like, oh, it's, now granted, I think sometimes you need to be like, what are you doing? But like, I didn't know God's grace and mercy. I didn't even know his love. Like, it was so,
Right.
like, surface level. Like, I mean, I could quote you a few scriptures, but I was so basic. And, like, looking back, I get so frustrated. And up until I had kids, and actually life got a little hard for us, that I was like, why am I, I'm pretending to be perfect only to realize I'm not. And it got, like, really rough there for a minute. And they're like, Hailey, why are you trying? I remember somebody telling me, like, Hailey, I wanted to be a youth leader.
That's right.
And I remember telling Kayla, I was like, I'm scared to pray for these kids. I remember telling, Pastor Chris, being like, look, I am not qualified. I just found out, at that point, like, my dad wasn't my dad. My parents were having issues. I didn't really know Jesus. We were having issues. Like, I mean, like, there was so much heaviness on the need to remind myself I had to be perfect to go to Jesus. Until they were like, Hailey, what are you doing? Like, we do not have to be perfect, for Jesus to love us.
Right.
And I was like, we don't. And then actually, I just ended up giving everything and being like, well, I can't. I'm at rock bottom. The only place we can go is up. And
Yeah, but rock bottom hurts.
Once you hit rock bottom,
It hurts.
There was a few minty bees, but
Yeah, rock bottom hurts.
it did.
It hurts really bad, guys.
It really does. And, to get to that point, and if people don't say they do, let me know your tricks. Write that in the comments. Like, let me know what you're doing in your life, because, or maybe just, I don't know, maybe you're not being honest. I don't know. I mean, life is hard as it is. And when you throw kids in the mix, you throw finances in the mix, you throw addictions in the mix, you throw anything in a mix, it's going to throw people off course. It's just, whether it be hunting's the same way. You go to a place, that water's dried up.
Gatos is dry, Bubba. We ain't hunting this one.
No, and
Nope.
I know that's happened to you guys.
Oh, my
and
God.
It makes me giggle, and it's funny to say that, but man, until you can, I don't know, and until you can get to the point of giving up all control and understanding God's grace is something that is the only thing. Because as somebody who deals with anxiety and somebody who deals with like OCD and making sure things are done right, and and not just a little bit, but like done right, like everywhere, in every aspect, every corner of this house, everything, my car, everywhere, until it's done right. That can be tough to give up control, especially over something like you try to navigate with the world going this way, and you ain't even supposed to be on that path. You're supposed to be on that path over there. That can be tough.
I'll just put it to you this way, and then we can have our last ditch efforts.
Yeah.
If you don't think you have a control issue, or maybe you think that, I'm pretty easygoing, if you are not completely honest with God, or you're not completely honest with your spouse or your friends about your situation and like what you're going through, because you don't want them to either know about something or know about what you're dealing with or what's going on, you're controlling the narrative, and therefore you have a control problem.
Yes.
And until you are ready to fully express those problems to the right people, I'll say that 100%.
Yeah, because we've done it to the wrong people, and sometimes that comes around and bites you in the booty.
Yep. But not everybody's there to help you when you're down.
No, and when people, like I said earlier, people do not like having the hard conversations. But so many of us need those hard conversations. One, it's going to weed out the people who aren't needing to be in your 5-foot circle. Plain and simple. Or it's going to put the people that you need to like push you through it. Because while we used to have people in our 5-foot circle, they're not in our circle anymore. But you know what? Now, God aligns certain people to be with us and around us. And that has pushed us to where we are now.
Yep.
And having the hard conversations.
Yep.
No matter how bad they sucked.
Yep.
But I am thankful for it.
Well, thank you. No, I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful that God has given you the grace to deal with me and all my issues. So
Likewise.
I'm a pretty lucky guy.
I agree.
Do you have any last ditch effort? I'm just gonna skip past that. Do you have any last ditch efforts you want to say, or maybe give a challenge? Not really a challenge. I'll challenge you today. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
You have any thoughts, questions, or what?
I don't know, because I'm not one to I don't like to question people or
Hey,
push
this
people.
is your opportunity because nobody's here except for
Q. No. If I could challenge you, if you've never been to church before, I think maybe this may be the Sunday to try. If not, turn on a little worship music. Me and worship music, we go hard.
Mm-hmm.
It may be in my car. I love to worship in my car. I also love to worship in my kitchen. My girls think it's the best. But also maybe have a little conversation with somebody. Make sure you're not alone, because when you go through hard times alone, things can feel like you're crippling. And if you can do something like that,
if
it'll
you're
hurt.
also if everybody in your circle is perfect, then you might need to find a different circle.
Absolutely.
But no, I don't.
Or maybe evaluate if you're the one that's perfect in the circle.
But no, I don't think I have anything. I think you absolutely hit everything on the head.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for wanting to. She actually wanted to come on, so.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much, and I love you.
I love you too.
And I really appreciate
Can I
you.
kiss you on the podcast?
Yes.
I love you.
No, I love you too. But hey, thank you. It was getting close to you. There you go.
Thank you.
But anyway, hey, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. Hey, leave your questions or maybe comments about
or even favorite verses.
Yeah,
That'd be cool
yeah.
too.
Leave everything in the comments below, because we would love to. Maybe if you have any questions or have anything that you want to maybe ask us, we're pretty much open books. So we would love to be able to kind of maybe hit on something specific, if you have a friend going through something. Anyway, all right. I love you. God loves you. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Thank you.
HunterBoyz out.
HunterBoyz out.